Some stories don't end. They pause. They leave things unresolved. This is one of those stories. The building was already awake when I arrived. Not in any obvious way. There were no lights flickering on, no voices in the stairwell, no doors opening or closing. It was awake in the sense that something had been continuing here while I was gone, something uninterrupted by nights or weekends or absence. The lobby looked the same as it always had: beige tiles, the potted plant in the corner that never seemed to grow or die, the security desk with its scuffed surface and outdated monitor. The guard nodded at me, the same way he did every morning. He didn't smile, he never did. "Morning," I said. He nodded again, eyes already back on the screen. I swiped my badge and waited for the familiar click. It came half a second later than usual, just enough to notice. The elevator was empty when I stepped inside. It always was at that hour. I pressed the button for the 8th floor and watched the doors close, slow and deliberate, like they were thinking about it. As the elevator rose, I checked my phone. No notifications, no messages, no missed calls. That was normal. What wasn't normal was the name still listed in the directory when I stepped out. I stopped just past the elevator doors and looked again. 8th floor. Operations, records, compliance, M. Calder. The name had been there for years. It should not have been there anymore. Martin Calder had stopped coming to work 3 months ago. At first, people assumed he was sick, then on holiday, then working remotely, even though his role didn't allow for it. HR sent out a vague email about restructuring, and his desk was cleared quietly over a weekend. No farewell email, no card, no explanation. His name, however, remained. I told myself it was an oversight, a forgotten update, a small administrative error that no one had bothered to correct. Still, I stood there longer than necessary, staring at the black letters against the brushed metal. Someone walked past me, brushing my arm. "Sorry," they said, already moving on. I went to my desk and sat down, powered on my computer, opened my inbox. There it was. From M. Calder. Subject, following up. The email wasn't new. The timestamp said it had been sent that morning at 6:12 a.m. My first thought was that it was automated, a delayed message, something queued before his account had been deactivated. Except his account wasn't supposed to exist anymore. The email was short. Just checking whether you had a chance to review the document. No rush. Let me know. No attachment, no greeting, no signature. I didn't open it right away. I stared at it, feeling something tighten in my chest. The office around me filled slowly with sound, chairs moving, keyboards clicking, someone laughing near the windows. Normal sounds, reassuring sounds. I forwarded the email to IT. "Is this account still active?" I typed. Then I closed it and told myself not to think about it. At 9:47, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I didn't answer. A minute later, it buzzed again. Still no voicemail notification, just the vibration, quiet. At 9:52, an email arrived. From M. Calder. Subject, phone. I may have the wrong number. Let me know. I felt my mouth go dry. I stood up and walked to the records room. It was rarely used anymore. Most things were digital now, scanned and archived. The physical files were leftovers, things no one wanted to deal with, things that didn't scan cleanly. The lights flickered when I switched them on. The air smelled of dust and paper and something faintly metallic. I found his name on a label halfway down the 3rd shelf. Calder, M. The folder was thicker than I expected. Inside were reports, handwritten notes, printed emails, all routine, all familiar. Until the last section. Photographs. Not of people, of rooms. Empty rooms, Hallways, stairwells, storage closets. The same building from different angles, different floors, different times of day. Some were clearly taken at night. One photo made my breath catch. It was the 8th floor lobby. The directory was visible in the background, and his name was missing. I closed the folder and put it back exactly where it had been. At lunch, I asked around casually, "Do you know if Martin's contract ever officially ended?" I said, keeping my tone light. The woman across from me frowned. "Martin?" "Calder, records." She frowned slowly. "I thought he transferred or retired." Someone else chimed in. "Didn't he die?" The table went quiet for a moment. "No," someone said eventually. "I think he just stopped." After lunch, IT replied, "Account is active. No termination on record." I stared at the message. Then another email arrived. From M. Calder. Subject, appreciated. I didn't respond. At 3:18 p.m., the fire alarm went off. Not the loud one, the silent alert, the one that only triggered certain procedures. We were instructed to remain at our desks. 10 minutes passed, then 20. Eventually, an all-clear message appeared on our screens. No explanation. As people packed up for the day, I stayed seated. I waited until the office emptied, until the lights dimmed automatically, until the building settled into its evening quiet. Then I stood up and walked towards the stairwell. I didn't know why. I told myself I was just curious, that I wanted to confirm something, that I needed to see for myself. The stairwell door was heavy. It closed behind me with a final sound. The lights inside were motion-activated. They came on slowly as I descended. Floor 7, floor 6. At floor 5, I noticed the markings on the wall. Small scratches, repeated, as if something had brushed past the same spot again and again. At floor 3, the air felt colder. At floor 1, the door didn't open. I tried again. Nothing. The lights flickered. Behind me, footsteps echoed. Slow, measured, unhurried. I didn't turn around. The footsteps stopped. A voice spoke, calm and familiar. "You missed a section in the file." I closed my eyes. When I opened them again, the stairwell was empty. The door to the lobby opened easily this time. I left the building without looking back. At home, I checked my phone. No missed calls, no emails. I slept badly. The next morning, his name was gone from the directory. So was mine.
Some stories remain unfinished, not because they lack answers, but because the answers were never found. This was one of them. If this story stayed with you, you may find others waiting